I'm Dr. Henna Ganjwala, she said, and I am a wildlife and exotic animal veterinarian. Now, everyone wants to know what that is. We'll come to that as we go on. When I was a kid, I would go to the beach to play. And while I was playing, I used to build sandcastles, I used to dig holes, bury my feet in it. One day while I was digging, a pair of paws came in to help me. And my mom always told me, an animal will never harm you unless you harm it. So I carefully put my hand towards this dog. He smelled my hand, wagged his tail, and licked it. Meeting at the beach became a ritual for the two of us, and this is how my journey started. I went to Shimla with my parents, and on every holiday, wherever we would go, I had to visit the national park or the zoo. And on one such trip, I visited the Shimla Zoo. I saw this bear pacing in his enclosure. It looked like he might have been in pain, I don't know. Outside his enclosure, it said that his name was Ramu. So I called out to him, I said, Ramu. He came running from the other end of the enclosure. He put up both his paws on the side of his enclosure, and he let out the saddest whimper. I asked the zookeeper what happened to him, and all he could say was, we don't know. He's in pain, he hasn't eaten well in days. We don't know what's wrong with him. And this made me realize how helpless I felt. This made me realize what I wanted to do with my life. I started watching a lot of Animal Planet. Animal Planet made me realize what vets do, what wildlife vets do. It also gave me the opportunity to see a plethora of animals as well. Now, I won't say becoming a vet is easy. It was no cakewalk. My parents were extremely supportive of my decision. But it's no cakewalk. Obviously, you have to study a lot to be a vet. Okay, you're not studying one species, you're studying all the species. Now, so when I decided to be a wildlife vet, the number one thing that most people said to me was, really, a woman getting into wildlife, like, are you sure you'd be able to work in the field? Well, today, I am so proud to say that with a lot of perseverance, women all over the world are making a difference in the field of wildlife. Not only in India, everywhere in the world. Okay. Now, I'd like to tell you, I wish I could tell you that my life was all about cuddling cute animals, seeing super cool animals all over the world, and traveling and working with wild animals. But it's not. A large part of it is dealing with people who don't think you're a real doctor. A lot of people who don't treat animals well and expect you to perform a miracle for their pets and get mad at you when you can't. Imagine you're at home on a Sunday evening, you finally got the day off, you're having dinner with your family. You get a frantic call from a bird owner. Now, an avian vet, of course, works with birds. So I get a frantic call from a bird owner saying, oh my God, my bird has been vomiting, he hasn't eaten, and I don't know what to do, he looks really weak. Like, calm down. What's happened to him? Did he eat something wrong? Have you given him something? And how long has this been going on for? So he says, this has actually been going on for a week. I was very busy with work and I didn't have time to call you. But I did check Google, I asked my Facebook friends, my WhatsApp groups, my breeders, everyone else, and I did give him some medicines, but nothing worked, he's just gotten worse, and you need to see him right now. Okay. I'm sorry, it's my day off. I can't see him today, but I will prescribe the right medication for you, and I will see him the first thing tomorrow morning. And to this, he says, you're heartless. You don't love animals. You're only in this for the money. You have no humanity in you. Now, this, unfortunately, is a conversation that we have on a regular basis with pet owners. it's unfortunate that someone that has dedicated their lives to saving animals gets to hear this. But I'd also like to tell you about a story about a client of mine. Let me start with my own story. When I was a child, I really wanted a pet. Obviously, being an animal lover, I wanted a pet. But my parents never let me. They said I was too young. I was too young to handle that kind of responsibility. I begged them, but they just said, no, you're not ready for it. But today, I realize just how right they were. It is not easy having a pet. One of my clients bought 8 birds and 4 rabbits because their child threw a tantrum. Luckily, they came to me the next day to get to know how to take care of these animals. They were first-time pet parents, of course, and they wanted to know everything about their care. And they were very, very surprised to know some of the things that I did tell them. That rabbits cannot have carrots just like Bugs Bunny did. That's not their main diet. Birds cannot survive on seeds alone. And they need playtime, they need outside time, they need to fly, they need regular veterinary checkups every year, and they need to be trained as well. This family decided to take on this commitment. Unfortunately, 6 of those birds were attacked by a wild bird on the terrace and didn't make it. One of those rabbits was too young, ate a poisonous plant, and didn't survive. One of the rabbits fell down while the child was playing with him, suffered grave injuries, didn't make it. This was devastating not only for the family, but also the child. Today, the rest of their animals are all healthy and happy, but lives were lost. Lives that didn't deserve it were lost. Keeping pets is a huge commitment. A commitment that is not only a commitment of your time, your money, and your patience. They're going to be with you for a minimum of 15 to 20 years, sometimes longer. But the returns that we get, the unconditional love that we get from them, is something that is priceless. Studies have shown that the human-animal bond has it helps in the reduction of stress. It helps in the reduction of cortisol, which is the stress hormone in humans. Imagine you come home after a tiring day at work, and there's someone so happy to see you that they just can't contain their excitement. While I was doing my master's in Australia, just before exams, we would have animal cuddling time. It was literally, they would bring in little animals so that we could cuddle them because it would help us relieve some of that exam stress and help us study better. So this is what animals do for us. And they've helped us through this very difficult time as well. Now, having pets has become a sort of a status symbol. More and more Indians are getting pets, but more and more pets are also getting abandoned. We've seen a lot of pets abandoned, especially during the pandemic. People don't realize it's very easy to get a tiny puppy, it's adorable, it's cute. But when it grows up, they don't realize how much time and effort it's going to take care of it. And we find a lot of these animals out on the street without anyone to care for them. These are some of the breeds that people want. These are some of the breeds because they are purebred dogs. They look extremely good. And most of them are abandoned because of many reasons. I mean, the excuses are plenty. Now, having the demand for purebred dogs has gone up so much that it has given rise to puppy mills. Puppy mills are actually places where dogs are made to breed just so that they can produce puppies that can be sold at high prices. Once the female dog stops producing puppies, she's left out on the streets. There we saw a huge rise in the selling and buying of pugs after the Vodafone ad came out. What people don't realize is that pugs are a product of terrible inbreeding. They have a lifetime of health problems. They have heart conditions, they can't breathe, they have skin problems. But they're popular, people like them, so they are bred. It's a lifetime of suffering for them. What we don't see is that we have a number of stray animals on our streets. As of 2018, there were 3.5 crore stray dogs on the road. Many homeless dogs and cats don't find homes because they don't belong to a certain breed, because they're considered pariahs, because they're considered a menace. But what we don't know is that these are the hardiest pets that you could have. They hardly fall sick, and they're extremely loving, and they live very long lives. Now, as an exotic and wildlife vet, I see a lot of unusual animals. Most of them are rescued wildlife, but then there are also some that are pets, and most of these pets come in because people don't know how to take care of them, or they've been fed the wrong things. And some of these animals are actually illegal to be kept as pets. These animals are protected under the Wildlife Protection Act of India, 1972. The most common ones are the Indian star tortoise and the Alexandrian parakeets. This particular one, this is a little Alexandrian parakeet that came in because it had been having crocin for 2 weeks because the owners thought it had fever. Now, paracetamol is toxic to birds and animals. So this one's liver and kidneys were unfortunately completely damaged, and despite doing our best, we couldn't save her. This is the illegal trafficking that takes place all over the world, especially in our country. I'm sure you must have seen these very commonly as pets, but it is illegal to keep them. So these are Indian stars, and then there are, again, Indian stars, and we have Indian roof turtles, Indian river turtles, flap shell turtles, soft shell turtles. And parakeets, of course, are very, very common, and they're transported in the worst conditions possible. I'd like to talk about a couple of cases that we've seen. This is actually a 40-year-old Alexandrian parakeet. His name was Pappu. He was owned by a very, very sweet old lady, but he was fed milk and bread for 40 years of his life. That, unfortunately, is a less than ideal diet for a bird. So the reason his beak looks so weird is because he has liver damage because of the incorrect diet. So he has to come in regularly to get his beak trimmed, and we've slowly shifted him to a healthier diet. So we're hoping Pappu lives a longish life. This is Rani. She is an Indian star. As you can see, she has a very abnormally shaped shell and abnormal legs. She can't walk, and she never will be able to because she has a condition called metabolic bone disease. All her life, she's been fed tomatoes and cucumbers and never been exposed to any sunlight. Tortoises need sunlight to metabolize calcium. And in her case, she didn't get any. So currently, her bones are pretty much like rubber. And she won't be able to walk, and her shell is as soft as a sponge. Now, what can we do? What can we do to help these animals? The first thing we need to do is be aware of what we can do for them and what impact we have on their lives. They, of course, will unwillingly give us everything, but what can we do for them? Whenever or if ever you decide to adopt a pet, do your research first. Speak to a vet. Look online. You will get so many articles on what goes into the care of any pet. Know whether it is legal or illegal to keep them. if you see any illegal wildlife trade, you can report it to the forest department. You can also report it to your local wildlife NGO so that these animals can be rescued and they can be rehabilitated. What I also want to do now is introduce you to my own furry family. So this is actually my firstborn, I would say. This is Diego. We found him as a severely anemic, and he had a severe viral infection as a kitten. Decided to take him in. He's 4 years old today and the most spoiled cat there can be. This is actually my newest, my youngest. He's 2 months old. His name is Ali. Found him on the street. He has a severe head injury. He was probably attacked by another dog. He has some brain damage and a skull fracture. He's special, I would say, but he is definitely getting better. And this is Harvey Two-Face. We also found her on the street. We don't know how old she is because she came to me as an adult. And well, half of her face, as you can see, was eaten. She had an infection. We won't get into that, but she is healthy and happy today, and she wants to wish all of you a very Merry Christmas. So thank you all so much for having me. And if I can do this, you can too. Please adopt. Thank you.